Guys, we are very excited to be doing our first ever live off market today. Are you pumped?
Pumped.
Pumped.
Chris, can you control the sound, please, mate?
God, we've been struggling all day. You think they'd have it together?
I know.
But they don't. That's all right. Live TV. Wouldn't you know it? Excellent. We're live. It's a tough crowd. No waffling from you two. I've got to keep you in line. We're getting straight into...
We're okay, Jess. You, mate, we're going to keep you on point.
We're going to get straight into Under the Hammer, our first section. For those of you who've never seen the show before, Roscoe's going to tell us about the auction market and the auctions on the weekend.
I actually feel as though I've probably got a few friends here today, Jess, with the auction world. Where's Kim Finlay? Somewhere here.
Eating.
Yes, eating.
Standard.
I don't feel like I'm a lone ranger here. Now, auctions, every week, guys, we highlight some of the amazing results we get in the auction world. There's one last Saturday, just not far from here, Jess, in East Perth in Ebsworth Street for Brad Triplett, one of the great supporters of Crib, actually. Little 1913 cottage. We had house full of people. We had about four bidders, competitive, bang, bang, bang. About $15,000 over reserve. Fantastic result. So, yeah, it's been great.
Are those properties, East Perth obviously well known for, I would have thought, apartments. Are those properties rare in that area? That kind of property?
This is sort of more East Perth, Mount Lloyd, not far from the train station, just off Railway Parade, yeah. So it's a lot of those cottages, not far from what is now St John the God Hospital.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, location's fantastic. I mean, one of the things we'll talk about later on with happiness in areas and so forth is walkability, and the walkability factor for those areas, which is becoming more and more of a factor for people to make buying decisions, is where can I walk to from that lifestyle point of view, and they really tick a lot of boxes. So yeah, it's a great result.
Beautiful.
Just on that, I could have asked you this off air, but I might as well ask you now. With how quick we can create urgency in the market, agents, should they be looking at making the auction day, bring it to 14 instead of 21?
Yeah, look, I agree. We had this conversation the other day with a few people, Shane, because there's I'm seeing, dare I say, a lot of off-market transactions going on at the moment, which do concern me for two reasons. One of them from an industry point of view. The reason we do open for inspections and so forth, it's not really to sell houses at the end of the day, it's to meet our next wave of potential sellers. And a lot of agents are selling off-market and not getting the opportunities to meet the next seller, because the old adage, when we list a property, the sale will come, but really we should have two other listings from it. That's not happening. Yeah. And secondly, are we actually achieving the best possible price? At the moment, in that markets that are very strong, there's no question to run it for 2 weekends. You can do weekend one, midweek, weekend two, and do an auction like 5 o'clock on a Wednesday. Yeah. You know, if you're in that stronger market to hold the buyers.
Because all that data, everyone gets the graphs, the realestate.com graphs. For me, they're huge, but if you look at it, it's peak, so it's so automated. Fire alerts, all these things happen. So to have it 21 days, I often wonder, has the heat gone out the market to a degree if you made it 14?
No, you can, mate, because, traditionally we used to look at the market peak to week 3 and then to week 4, but at the moment it's peaking a lot earlier. So, there's a lot of evidence to say we can shorten the period now.
What did that one go? Was that a 21 day?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So,
There you go. Beautiful.
Once again, it just shows that the only way to auction property is auction.
Words of wisdom from Ross.
Well, why wouldn't you? Jess, why wouldn't you? Huh?
I'm not the real estate agent in the room.
I think everyone agrees. The market's actually, right now, it's pretty healthy, but it's just that negative equity that is holding a lot of people back. But I think if you look at the market, we always say around 12, 13,000 is what you're targeting. It's really, really healthy. It's just people want to move, but sometimes they can't. So we get that injection, first home buyers will kick on, and I think it'll start to go again.
Yep.
Beautiful.
Happening.
Leading on to the real press, our next section. Now, this is where we kind of break down a news article or something that we've seen in the last couple of weeks and explain or talk about what's been going on. This week, Shane, you sent me through something a little bit different.
Very different.
It's the happiness report from RateMyAgent. How many people in the room have seen this one? I think it's pretty new, a couple of people.
It was on 882, just on that. On 882, they misinterpreted it to say just who's happy in areas. So Simon Beaumont rang me. He said, look, we're going to talk about this. And I said, mate, I think you're getting it wrong. It's actually not who's happiest when they go to the park. It's actually happy with the outcome of the sale. Was it above, at expectation, or below?
Yeah.
So to give you
so they're asking the vendors that question when they leave their review. Yeah. They're asking, were you...
Over the moon? Were you satisfied? Or were you underwhelmed?
Yeah. And so the results are in. Here it is, where you live.
Yep.
Happiest place, Melville. followed by
Is it
Wanneroo.
Council.
Oh, sorry, this is council.
Council, it is councils, yeah.
There you go.
City of. Yeah.
Any agents here selling in Melville?
Yeah.
City of Melville? Oh yeah, well done,
Why are they
guys.
the happiest, other than using you, Siobhan? How come they're happy? What do you think?
I think in terms of where the market's gone in the last few years,
Yeah.
the City of Melville, our drop in prices have been much lower than surrounding suburbs.
So they're in tune with it to a degree?
Pardon?
They understand the market more?
They do.
Yeah.
They do. Yep.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
I thought there was an interesting one was Mandurah. Mandurah's just been hell for, God knows how long.
Yeah.
But that's the biggest rebound. And I think that is, if you look at the amount of off-market transactions happening in Mandurah at the moment on the canals.
Huge.
Across, we had a guest from Harcourt's. Mandurah was going really well down there, said it's really changed. So I think that's really, because people have just been down in the dumps for so long.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty true.
Absolutely. I think in a lot of those areas, Shane, one of the big drivers of this happiness report, it comes out of the fact that it's just optimism. You know, yeah, they're still a long way back from where they were, but the fact is they do see some light at the end of the tunnel. And, you know, employment's up and all those type of issues. The people, the well-being of people is generally increasing. Like, you're right, the canal market down there, and in particular, because I have a bit to do with it, the canal market is seeing a lot of eastern state buyers come into play.
Yeah.
So, because they see it as exceptional value, and the expats coming back to mine down there. Yeah.
Can I ask, is this their last year?
This is the last 12 months.
Okay.
They interviewed 40,000 people who have transacted across Australia to work it out. So I think it's pretty true. I think some of those areas have been, as I say, hit pretty hard. At first I thought, and I was like, what's going on in Melbourne makes everyone happy. Obviously some beautiful properties, but when I actually looked at it, I think City of Melbourne, those areas, there's some big councils there.
Yeah.
But it also comes back to expectation. They know where the market's at. Some of these areas, they're pretty in tune with where things are happening.
Would you think, you guys have been talking a lot about buyers starting to understand and be a bit more realistic about where the market is and be happy to put their properties on the market at prices that you guys... Would you think this is going to go up fairly significantly across the board in the next year?
I think people are pretty happy. People know... I believe people think there's better times ahead. It's going to be a slow ship turning, but I think as a general rule, for the first time in quite a while, I think most agents will agree, it seems more positive. Rental market's really good.
Yeah.
So you guys, you're always happy. So that's good. I think what will happen, and I'm sick of saying this, but when buyers start to compete with people, you've got active buyers now, but those people that are renting go, well, hang on, I'll be cheaper buying than renting, which is what we have now. That's going to bring more buyers into the market. And with interest rates being obviously low, how easy it is to get money compared to what it was a couple of years ago. If you're not acting now as a first time buyer, I'm not just saying to sell a lot of that stuff, I think you're mad. I really do think you're mad. So,
Yeah.
Beautiful. All right, we're going to move on to our next segment, our Hood Highlight. Now, guys, normally we've got a guest, we've sent them the list of questions before they come up. Today, we kind of thought we'd look around the room and see who's around, who's an area expert, who's been selling in the area for a very long time. My eyes went straight to Steve Lally from Ian Hutchison, who's been selling around South Perth and surrounds for 20 plus. Sorry, mate.
He's been hanging around that long.
He's been
hanging around the Windsor for that long.
We'd love to have you up and tell us a bit about the South Perth Como market, if you would not mind coming up here and joining us. Shane, there's a mic there if you want to use that one.
You're going to regret giving this man a mic.
Are we?
You want to turn it on? We've got to give it back.
So, Steve, tell us, first of all, what we like to hear is how the market's going in your area and maybe benchmarking it against how it's performed over the last couple of years.
A bit like Shane, the listings have dried up a little bit there, like across the board in Perth, but I think it is because the prices, in South Perth there's a lot of apartments and then there's houses, townhouses and villas, so it's like two categories of properties at two different markets really, but they've all been affected the last 5 years, as most properties have, but a lot of the sellers aren't selling now because of the most people think the market's on the way up, and which is true. It seems like that. The last 6 months has been good. We need another 6 months of it, but that's why a lot of people aren't selling, and the listing rates are a bit lower, but the rents are starting to increase as well, so the people with the apartments are waiting. Most people are waiting, but that's plenty of buyers out there, but it's just normal real estate.
If you had to rate the high end being 3 million plus, as an ABC, and the apartments ABC, what would you rate each? How the market is?
Well,
The high end seems pretty buoyant.
yeah, the high end is, but like I say, most people are waiting. It just depends on people's situation, whether they need to sell or not. The apartments have been affected a bit more, like probably closer to 25%, some 30%. But I'd say probably B for both of them really. It's just normal real estate now. So,
Steve, South Perth has been an area that's over the years attracted a wide variety of buyer groups. That'd be fair to say. How are you finding now at the moment the types of buyers that have come? Are you seeing an influx of expats, or are you seeing the Asian market still strong there, locals? What sort of mix is happening there?
I sell a little bit in Como as well, and I haven't seen first home buyers for a fairly long time, but the last 3 months, really, there's been a lot of first home buyers come back in. So that's very good. I think that's it's just the foundation to flow through. We don't get so many international people, but mainly off the plan selling, but which our company doesn't do. But most people buy within the area. But to be honest, the last year we've been getting people from eastern states coming across, and when I quiz them about that, a lot of people on the East Coast seem to reckon that Perth's the next place to take off, and everything's pointing towards that.
And when you have developments like Echelon coming on down the waterfront and so forth, which is obviously the luxury market really coming into play, how's that affected, or how's that been reacted to within the local market? Are people liking it, or are they resisting it?
I think most people understand that change is going to happen, and in the long run, especially in South Perth, you got Angelo Street and Men's Street down by the ferry there, and it's changing very quickly. And with the Civic Heart just opposite the Windsor there, that's been approved, so there's another 300 odd going there. So that's I think it's like the 6th tallest building in Perth.
Wow.
So the landscape of South Perth the next 5 years is going to change. And that's like twice as tall as any other building. So we'll certainly get a stiff neck looking up at it.
Yeah, good.
Just on that, South Perth.
You're a bit worried, Dan. You thought I was going somewhere else.
I was repeating
The market is very good.
it's all buoyant. It's all going up.
Just on that, South Perth and Como, I know you're country boy, but South Perth and Como seems to have a lot of country people. Why is that? Not about Henry, it's more to it.
Yeah, and also Como as well. Yeah, well, Como in particular around Preston Street, Como. And I traced it back. I've asked a lot of people. A lot of the country people, their first taste of going into the city was through sport, and they stay at all the hotels around the Carolee Tavern and also South Perth. And it's really easy to get to from sort of the Avon Valley all through there. You just go Grayson Highway, Canning Highway, turn right at the Carolee Tavern. So they all, it's easy to get to, and a lot of their families have bought there over the years, so it's just a traditional thing, really. Yeah.
Where have you got? What about from other areas of Perth? Is it an aspirational suburb for certain other areas in terms of people coming into the suburb, or?
Yeah, that's a very good question. Yeah, well, a lot of country people. Well, they've had a few good years in the country, so they're back in the market now, which is nice. But you're right, in Vic Park, Kensington, a lot of people upgrade, and so when they can get into, they usually start off over there, and then they work their way up, and then they buy in the cheapest streets in South Perth and just make their way up. So there's a lot of that in the area.
Beautiful. Cool. All right, we're going to roll straight into our next segment. 6 questions with Roscoe.
Potentially the most important segment of the whole show, Jess.
Mr. Hollywood.
Not potentially, it is actually. Let's go.
There we go. Steve, are you ready for these questions?
Steve, he genuinely doesn't know these questions.
He doesn't know. He hasn't been primed, so we're going to get the real oil. So, Steve, we'd like to find out a little bit of what's going on with people. And one of the questions, probably one of the most important questions, is a business question or life one. We all say that the most learnings in life come from where we stuff up most. The old saying is, we benefit experiences. Experience is what we get when we don't get what we want, isn't it? Yeah? Okay. So in your life, let's stay professional if you like. You go personal, I don't care. What would be the biggest stuff up you've made that it has been sort of a catalyst to sort of be better at what you do or whatever?
Well, I used to play a lot of league footy, Perth and East Fremantle, and the biggest regret and stuff I think I've ever done is the only chance I was going to play state footy, and I got drunk all night till early in the morning, and I think it's sort of, and I've always regretted that, but I think it's not too professional, but from that I sort of learnt that there was a big opportunity missed because I was getting a bit older, but so I become a bit more disciplined, and then less is more.
Yeah. Less is more. Less is more.
Later.
Steve, question number 2. What are 3 things you wouldn't leave home without, mate?
Well, on the weekends mainly, obviously the mobile.
Imagine the week.
Well, I'm just talking about weekends now, but always a bit of fruit, because I always try to sort of stay healthy now, except the weekends. And on the weekends, when I'm doing homes, I always try to take my wife Chrissy, because she's a great help. So.
Very good.
Oh, mate, that's a very good answer. Very good answer. Very good answer. So your wife might be better to answer this next question. What is your worst habit? Oh, so now she's piped up. She says no, now she's in the fray.
Probably my worst habit's probably on a Friday night just drinking too much. I guess that'd be my worst habit.
So see, alcohol seems to be a bit of a common theme.
Well, you got to let your hair down now and then. So, as you work in real estate, you got to sort of enjoy your successes and let your hair down a bit sometimes.
Yeah. It's a journey, isn't it? It's a journey. So, mate, when you're not at work, where are we likely to find you? Outside of real estate, what's your hang?
Because we work every weekend, every Wednesday I try to take off, and I do take off and go and play golf. So that's a passion. So golf every Wednesday.
And mate, at this point, your wife is here. You're probably saying, I always look for that extra time, spend quality special time with my wife.
Yes, I got taught by Ian Hutchison many years ago, take your wife out for lunch at least once a week, and that's a good idea, and it's worked well.
You're a keeper, mate.
That's not bullshit if you believe it.
It's right. You should go into real estate. There's lots of anecdotal sayings out there. Some sayings we hear ad nauseum that annoy us. What's a saying that you feel's really most overused and it really irritates you?
That's a good cliches generally. Mainly the cliches in footy season when they say 1 week at a time. Obviously, that you're going to hear that so many times. Oh, yeah, I suppose the old real estate one's like, yeah, I'm not going to give it away. That's like, that one's sort of quite annoying.
I'll rent it out.
You just started looking.
Yeah.
Mate, I reckon this time of year the most overused saying is the Dockers are looking good. Yeah. But anyway, so last question, most important question, mate. Best meal in Perth. We're here, we all want to go for meals tonight. Where do we go, what do we eat?
Well, in South Perth, I think Rambler and Mr Walker are very good, but my favourite is probably Nobu at Crown. It's just a beautiful place. But there's so many. We're pretty blessed with how many beautiful places we have in Perth, to be honest. But I sit on the fence a bit there. But Nobu,
all good. Okay.
Once a week.
Once a week. Jess, that was very good. Unedited, bloody beautiful.
Off the bat. I did promise that we would throw to the audience for some questions. Does anyone have any questions for Steve or our panel about South Perth? No questions?
Anything?
We'll carry on.
Yeah, go.
Beautiful.
Keep rolling.
Final segment of the week. I'm excited because we've got something for this one this week. Play of the week. We've been struggling, but we've got something. Our first play of the week, we're giving to Miles Walton. Oh, you can play it, Sam. What? Hey! Stop. Miles Garner, sorry. Sorry, Miles Garner from Realty Lane. You got to give him a hand for that one.
Very good.
And our second player of the week, we do have two. He's in the room. He's up the back. Now, I know a couple of you probably copped it during the week with these storms playing havoc. I know Kimbo in the front had a lucky building inspection that came just before the storm hit. But some of us weren't so lucky. Adam
Sellers
Naumovski.
being interviewed by the news. Not very good news at all. I don't know if she'll be under offer for much longer. Not good.
So if you didn't catch that, that was his sellers being interviewed by the news, and not sure if that is the property still under offer, Adam? Still there?
It's still structurally sound. I did have a player of the week. It's just for the record. During the week, you probably heard there was a car chase. It ended up in Gosnells, but it was not. They're not from Gosnells. So I was at. I was driving along and I get a call from a mobile, which didn't just answer as I do. Yeah, it's Detective from Armidale Police Station. Okay, just wondering, you've just sold this block. I'm thinking, if he's going to buy a block, he doesn't need to tell me he's a cop. But and he goes, look, I just need to get permission. There's a dumped car on the block. I need to get permission from the owner. I said, yeah, no, I just passed the owner on. Anyway, that day I get a call for an appraisal, and it was actually a mortgage and possession sale, and I had to walk through. It's across the road. Now, the property's been vacant for 5 months. They still haven't found the gunman today. And I go to the property, and as I went to put the key in, across the road, the light switched on. And I was like, I'm not going. So I actually walked back out the car, so I'm not appraising it today. And they still haven't found the actual dude. So, because I thought it'd be perfect. If I was going to run away, I'd run away, thinking the cops, they're going to think I'm gone. But just to go next door, they're never going to look there.
Did you call Crime Stoppers?
No, I just appraised.
He told everybody here now. It's out there.
I appraised it the next day, but that's completely irrelevant. But really smart. The guy that did it, he actually painted the bonnet and the boot black because they were looking for a silver car. You get it?
Tips for anyone in the
I haven't seen a silver car because he actually painted the. It was actually a silver and black car.
Yeah, well,
So they got him a third time.
that's a real good hood I like. In the hood, mate.
It wasn't.
There you go, guys. We're ending on a high.
True
Tips
story.
from Shane. That is it from us for Off Market. As we do every week, we need to thank our friends and our sponsors, Domain Home Property Styling, for supporting us. Always putting on these beautiful sets for us. They do an amazing job. April and the team, thank you so much. This episode is going to be released. It's live at the moment on Facebook, but we're also releasing it next week on our Facebook page, 12 o'clock on Thursday. If you want to check it out and look for your faces in the crowd, please do. Every fortnight we release it, so check it out if you haven't already.
And the
Thank
podcast.
you. And there's a podcast as well, so if you don't want to watch it, it's
Go look at
annoying.
us.
Listen to them in the car.
Forward it on. Let's get it out there.
Yeah, don't need to look at this sweaty mug this week.
All good.
So there's a podcast. That is it. Thank you guys for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Enjoy.
Thanks, guys.